Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I haven't been able to record or upload. Originally I thought I was going to have plenty of time to film some videos, like pre-record and then upload lots, but we ended up not having power for a lot longer than we were anticipating, so my phone obviously didn't have battery, and we had to go to like warming stations or like try to get into a restaurant somewhere and use their outlets because they had generators or power or whatever. Because we had no way of charging our phones, so we basically had to use them like as little as possible, and keep it for emergencies in case we actually needed to get a hold of someone. So yeah, there's still some people who don't have power. We were very fortunate and we got it back. Not right away. We went a while without power, but there's definitely people still without power who don't have access to heat, hot water, or anything like that. So we were very fortunate in the situation. We did end up getting hit with a hurricane a lot harder than anyone had expected. So we're not really prepared for it, I guess. The damage has been astronomical. It's actually completely changed the shape of the island. I'll insert before and after pictures, and you can see all around the island how it's completely eroded the dunes and around our island and cliffs and stuff. It's pretty sad. I'll insert some pictures. There's a lot of damages, a lot of trees down. Those trees are going to continue to cause problems for us all through the winter because as snow builds up on them now, they're going to continue kind of falling down and taking power lines down and stuff. So we still have like a long road ahead of us to deal with the aftermath of the storm. We were lucky in the sense that we didn't, get displaced or anything, but my grandfather did lose his greenhouses that he grows pretty much the whole family. He grows their vegetables, fruit, stuff like that. So that's really unfortunate that happened. When I was in the video, or the last video I uploaded, where I was prepping for the hurricane, and one of the things I did was move all the plants away from this window here in front of me, and I'm really glad I did it because it did end up getting damaged. So there has been a draft coming through that window. It did get like smashed across it, so I moved all the plants away from it, and I'm really glad I did because they would not be alive right now. The couple of plants that I did leave by the window, but just because I didn't have space. My cat just threw up all over my plant. Oh, Tootie. Okay, I'll have to clean that up in a minute. But yeah, the plants that I couldn't move because they were too big and I just didn't have anywhere else to put them, they did end up dying. The 2 fiddle leaf figs dropped all their leaves, and my huge gorgeous monstera that I'll probably never have the chance of owning again did take cold damage, and it is going to die. It's not completely dead, but it's yellowing and black and stuff like that. So I just have a lot of plant chores to get done today. One of those is going to be getting rid of the dead plants and stuff. I can water my plants. So there's some plants that look like this. So I have a lot of stuff to get done. I'm going to move all my plants back to their normal spots. I have to water them and then throw out the ones that didn't survive. It's pretty disappointing. I feel like I've been restarting my collection quite a bit lately due to different factors. So it's sad, but we'll see what I'm left with when we're done. So I'm gonna jump into it and I'll see you guys in a minute. So I am going to start with the monstera and the fiddle leaf figs. I'm gonna get those cut up and put into a garbage bag just so that they're out of the way and I can kind of rearrange everything over there. So one of the things I am going to do with this Monstera leaf is I'm going to soak it and then skeletonize it for a picture frame. So this is the only part of the Monstera I'm keeping. So now I'm just going to water. I'm going to fill this bin with some water, put the plants in it, let them get hydrated while I clean up the floor. Okay, so I do have the mopping done, the sweeping. I want to let the plants soak a bit longer, and then I have to do like a second bucket full. But I have to do some repotting too. It's been something I was supposed to do right around the time that the hurricane hit, and I just never got to it. And we didn't have light, so it was really hard to do anything. So I actually have these little pots from the Dollarama. They came with fake plants in them, but I removed them. I used the fake plants for my geckos, and I'm going to repurpose the pots by painting them with my terracotta mixture. And I'm going to be doing a video on how I make, like you can kind of see one right there, how I make plastic pots look like terracotta. So I'm going to quickly paint a bunch of pots and then do a repotting. So just a little update, I got these planters painted from the Dollarama, and basically all I do is I mix in like either baking soda or like baking soda or baking powder will work. They have a little bit of a different effect. I use baking soda, and it kind of like makes this clumpy textured mixture, and you just add it to acrylic paint and put it on. There's a little bit more of a process to it because you do have to prepare plastic pots. Pots that are plastic typically don't hold on to acrylic well, just because acrylic is made for more porous materials. But that's this one done. I did another one down there that's drying, and then these are ones I've done in the past, like before, and I think they go so nicely together. I'm really happy with how they turned out. And then I have one over here. I have more, but I just have to get them potted up, get some plants in them. So moving on. Okay, so I've got everything pretty much watered. I still have to do the ones that won't fit in the bin, so some of the bigger ones, the hanging ones, that kind of stuff. But I do still have some repotting to do, so I'm going to do that quickly. One of the things I have to do is chop up a couple plants. I'm going to like separate the nodes and then throw them in a humidity box to try and get some growth out of them. Tootie's just here. She's about to knock over my plant. I know she is. But yeah, one of the... Wait, where is it? My Hoya Macrophylla pot of gold. This Hoya pot of gold right here. And then I have this cutting, which I want to add back into this pot. So I'm gonna do that, and yeah. So these are actually all cuttings in here, and I've just combined them all into one pot to make like a fuller pot. I need like a table. I wish you guys had seen that. That was actually really smooth. So, okay, so I know that there's like a really bad mess in the background. I haven't thrown out the bags yet that I already did, so I'm just gonna continue getting this stuff done, and then I will deal with the mess afterwards. So yeah, I have this pot of Hoya pot of gold cuttings, and I'm gonna add this guy back in. I really hate repotting Hoyas and unpotting them because the roots are like so sensitive. I find like if they get disturbed at all, they off themselves. And I recently had it happen to one of my all-time favorite plants. It was a massive hanging basket of a Hoya, and I will insert a clip of it here so you can understand my pain. The entire thing died back because during the hurricane it got tipped over, and because the roots were disturbed and some of the soil fell out and all that, it decided it was no longer. So now I'm left with this pot, and this is the little piece I added right here. It has a long stem and there's some kind of arrow roots coming out. For the meantime, I'm not going to put it on a trellis because when I put it on a trellis, it's going to be pointing down. Okay, like I was trying to say before the video got cut off, I'm not going to put it on a trellis because it's not long enough that it will be pointing upwards, and I want this new growth point to be pointing up, not down, because that's how it would naturally grow, and I don't want to mess its growth up. So that's that one done for now. Next I have this variegated alocasia that it was a corum that I was trying to save, and it threw an all white leaf, and then it threw a pretty much all white leaf with a tiny bit of green. So it's really not going to sustain itself very well, but I'm going to repot it and hopefully it will throw some green in with the variegation. I just need to find, I'm gonna use this pot. So this is the pot I'm gonna, because this guy I'm actually pulling out, and I actually have plans for this strawberry shake that is reverted. So he's very dry, but as you can see, the roots are nice and healthy. So, and this, I like to do my propagations in a mix of sphagnum moss and perlite. And with the perlite, something I find really important when you're doing cuttings is making sure that you're filtering out all of the dusty bits. So you want to use like a strainer to get the bigger pieces. So I just put a little bit of soil in there, and now I'm putting it in. I'm not gonna take the moss off the roots or anything. I'm just gonna pour some more soil around it and on top. So that's that guy done. What else do I have? Oh yes, so this strawberry shake I have, it's actually fully reverted, so there's no variegation on it, as you can see. However, it is possible to get variegation to come back sometimes, and the way that you go about doing that is by chopping it up. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take it apart and have a look at the roots and see if there's any nodes that I can kind of. So this is what we are working with in terms of the nodes and roots, and there's really not a lot there to work with. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to get this middle node like cut right here, and that will leave me with a node and then the top cut of the plant. You can actually see in here there is actually a node right in there too. If I thought I could get in there, I would. And I actually think I can. I think if I remove one of these leaves here, it will give me access to that node, and then I can separate that node and plant it. So I'm gonna remove So the thing that's hard with this is, or to how to decide, is that if you remove too many leaves, then it's a lot slower to root and put out new growth. So I don't want to remove a lot of the leaves, but I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, there's at least 3 here I really want to remove, but that only leaves it with 2, and I'm not sure I want to be that risky. I can actually see there's a growth point on this lower part right here. See that kind of brighter spot, little nub right there, by my fingernail. So that is a positive sign that I want to keep intact. So I'm gonna go grab scissors. Are gonna be way too thick to cut this, so I'm gonna get like an X-Acto knife and I'll be right back. So this is the kit I like to use. It has some different blades in there that work well. You can kind of pick one that fits like into really tiny spaces, or you can get a bigger one. And I'm going to use that to separate these nodes, just because if I use scissors, it's going to be like, it's going to cut too much. And as you can see, we're working with very little space between nodes. And we're already going to be very short on petiole, I guess, between the nodes, because we're cutting like so close to each other. And the concern with doing this is that if it rots, you basically have no forgiveness. Once that rot hits the node, which it will do very, very quickly, we're a bit screwed if that happens. So there is risk associated with doing it this way. But just because it's reverted, I got it for like a really cheap price, so I figure I may as well experiment with it and see what happens. So I want to find that node again. It's right there. And I'm gonna cut so I made my first cut here. And there's 2 nodes, if I can get to focus, there's 2 nodes left on here. And then as you can see, there's like that little bud right there that I'm going to plant and hope that it continues to produce new growth. So this is the top part that I'm left with. I did end up removing a leaf so that I could get a better cut. So I'm going to throw that guy away. And then I'm going to have another look here and see what I want to do. So I have 2 nodes that are really visible here. But one is kind of in the sheath of the bottom leaves, so it's really hard to see, but there is a node in there. So I can either separate them, or I can pot this back up and let it grow more, which I think there's no active growth at the moment, like there's no new leaf coming or anything, and I'm kind of tempted to... I wonder how healthy these leaves are. If these leaves are yellow and they weren't going to do anything for the plant, I would probably just remove them and cut between the nodes. But if they're healthy, I kind of want them on there. Okay, I think I am going to cut. I'm going to try and cut. It's going to be hard to see. But if you look down underneath of this leaf in the sheath area, there's a node there. So I'm going to try and cut between this leaf and the rest of the plant and see if I can. I'm going to use this blade to do it. And it might not work. I could end up destroying both. So I'm going to do my best to get in there. Okay, that was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I did lose another leaf, so that's garbage. And now I am left with this single node, single leaf that I can plant. And I'm left with this. There's actually 2 nodes here and 2 leaves. So, I think what I'm going to do is, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pot up all of these initial cuttings together, and then I'm going to put the stump somewhere separately, and I'll probably throw the stump into a humidity box. So I'm going to reuse this little pot here. I'm going to put some of this damp sphagnum back in, and then I'm going to plant the node into this pot. And I want the little bud to be facing up. Okay, so I have that little bud nestled in there, and now what I want to do is put this into like a glass cloche or a grow box or something that's going to keep the humidity up nice and high, and that will hopefully continue to grow. Now I have these 2 left that I am just going to pot up into one pot together. Gonna use this guy right here. Plop some sphagnum in. And I'm gonna plant them pretty close to the top just because they don't really have any roots or anything. So I want them to be closer to the top so that it doesn't stay too moist and it dries out faster to prevent rot. Because again, those nodes are really, really close together, so. And I don't like to pack moss in. I'm just gonna drop it in and let it stay nice and loose so that there's air traveling around there, and I don't have to worry as much about rot. Hello, kitten. Next up is this booby cactus, and I actually unpackaged this the day of Fiona. I did it in my last video. You can see me unboxing it, and I never got around to potting it up, so I'm gonna do that now because it's been sitting out for like 2 weeks now. So next up I have this philodendron melanochrysum, and if at the top way up here, it's basically just stopped putting out leaves. It's a really long stem, so I'm gonna cut it off where it stops having growth, like foliage, and then I'm going to separate the nodes, and I'm going to throw these into a humidity box too to get some new growth going on them. There we go. Slide him to the side. Now I have this long thing with no growth. It was actually new growth up here, but it's dead. So I'm just going to take that off. I'm going to get the leaf sheets off. And now I'm going to separate these nodes, and nodes are these like little areas, bumps where there's going to be new growth come from. Next thing I gotta do is I have some like die off at the top of the pot from when I wasn't able to water them, and it's just making it look really bare, which I don't like. So I'm gonna cut up some of these, do the butterfly method, replant them in here, and get a full pot going again. So I'm gonna do that off camera as well. Most of my plants moved back up onto these shelves, but I still do have these guys sitting down in here that I have to get to. Most of those are gonna go on the top 2 shelves. They're still kind of soaking. Okay, so that pretty much sums up this video. I did everything, kind of got caught up, did the watering, did the propagating, repot it when it needed to be done, and that pretty much brings me up to speed. I think that's everything I wanted to get done, or at least for now. It's a good start. I've been working on it all day for a few hours. I know it's not that long in the video, but I've been literally spending all day on this, and it's now 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.